Good afternoon everybody and welcome to the Stamps by Me studio. I'm Claire Manning and I'm working from home at the moment. Still doing my videos for you on a Thursday at 1 p.m. and a Sunday at 1 p.m. So you'll be able to enjoy all the demos still that I do for Thirsty Brush, Tony does for Stamps by Me. You've got Carly does Marla and Simon now for Avago Ink. So the demonstrations that we do on this channel are obviously for inspiration and ideas for you. We've got live chat, so do come and say hi as well. I'll be there even though this is a pre-recorded show. Do pop down below and say hi in the live chat, and you'll notice lots of other people there as well who like to get involved and enjoy all the demonstrations that we do here. So I'm going to do, like I say, it's for inspiration, but of course when we do have new designs we do like to show them to you as well. And I'm on Create and Craft tomorrow at 2:15 for a double show. Again, I'm absolutely loving these double shows for a collection called Wow Wire Frames. So I'm going to use one of the wire frames here. They are amazingly beautiful dies with this kind of wireframe part, a little bit for your sentiment. I'm actually going to try and do a shaker card with one of these today, so let's see how that works out. And these lovely floral designs. This is the kind of square one, there's a circular one and a hexagonal one as well. I'm going to do some heat embossing with this streamers background. Might even do something with one of the little hearts as well. And you probably just saw me in the camera. This is one of our background dies with the little kisses. I'm going to use the Outer. It's got lots of lovely little crosses for kisses there as well. So I can cut my mats and layers for my card as well. So let's start off doing the heat embossing with the streamers and get that bit done, and then we can use that piece of card to die cut. So I fancy like seeing how it looks kind of white on white, and see if we can just get, rather than a bold colour with this streamers pattern, see if we can get it to look almost like we've used an embossing folder where you've got texture but still the tone on tone, white on white. So it's a huge 5x5 stamp. And I'm just going to get some white card. A really cool pattern. I haven't seen anything quite like that before. It reminds me of those, it's called streamers because it reminds me of those kind of 70s things that would hang from the ceiling. So I've put my anti-static bag down there so my powder only sticks where I want it, and then my sticky luminosity embossing ink or any other embossing ink that you've got at home. All over, and I'm going to go twice with that, like I always say when it's the clear, because it can be difficult to see when you're working on white card whether you've got every single bit of your design with the clear ink. Sometimes I even go in for a third go, but I think I can see that okay. We're doing white on white anyway, so it's not going to be a huge drama. If we've missed an odd bit, I don't think you'll notice. So just grab a piece of scrap to catch the powder. And I've got the pure white of our luminosity powders. course you could do this with any of your coloured powders as well. It doesn't have to be the white on white. I just fancied it for the look of this card that I'm going for today. Keep that in case I need it for another one. And let's just heat set that. Always make sure I put my lid on my powders before I heat set, otherwise I end up, the heat from my heat tool ends up blowing the powder everywhere. I think I really like the look of that already. Now you'll notice I'm making a square card, but I've done this just on a piece of A5, but you'll see why in a minute. I'm going to make sure it fits my card perfectly. I just want to do one last bit of embossing while I've got all my embossing stuff out. And let's do one of these little crackle hearts. So this card's going to be predominantly white, but with a little splash of kind of Thirsty Brush green. So I've got one of the other luminosity powders. This is one of the glitter ones, Mint. Same again, anti-static bag. These are really forgiving patterns though, because it's that kind of smashed glass crackly effect. These would go great with Carly's crackle background that she did for iMala recently. I always think that's really forgiving them when it's that kind of design where it hasn't got to be absolutely perfect. I think I'll use this almost like as a little embellishment on top, but we'll come back to that. So already that looks really pretty, doesn't it? So I've done it on the same piece as here, but I'm going to cut that out. Just heat set that one. Lovely. So when I mentioned earlier about that not being square yet, so I've taken that outer edge that I talked about earlier, and if I pop that on top of the heat embossed background, it fits absolutely perfectly. Just trying to find myself a bit of tape. There we go. So you haven't got to trim around that and be measuring and all that kind of thing. I've done it all for you. Just get my plates. Excuse me 1 second. machine's having a meltdown. There we go. So it's been another strange week, hasn't it? I hope everybody's okay and coping all right with everything. Right then, I'll keep my plates out because I'm going to do another little bit of die cutting now. So that's our lovely textured background. This I'll just put aside because I'm going to use that, like I say, as an embellishment in a bit. So what I want to do is use this part as the front of my card and die cut out using this as an aperture for my shaker card. I don't know whether I'm going to use the whole thing actually or just the... I can't decide. Yeah, I think I'd need a bigger card if I'm going to use the whole thing as an aperture. So let's try that. And then I've also got my fave holographic card. I'm going to cut it out again to get the detail. So that gives us an aperture. Oh, where's my tapey tool? Got it today. Yay, found it. There we go. So we're not using that bit right now, but of course keep that for another card. That would be beautiful. In fact, I might use an odd bit. We'll see. Let's see how we go. And then let's cut that out again. Just get rid of those excess bits. Out of the holographic, and we'll see what we're going to do with that in a moment. So ahead of time I've just done another plain white layer using that little crosses. I haven't bothered heat embossing that, it's just going to sit in the background. So that's a bit loud, isn't it? A mat of the holographic to bring it all together, and here's my 6x6 card. And then that's the beautiful flower in the holographic, and we are going to use that one. So just pop that aside for a moment. And I've also got a piece of acetate that I've cut down, so just slightly smaller there, and it can sit behind the aperture. So let's put a couple of these bits together. Grab my glue. And of course I've got foam tape and sequins that I'm going to be using for inside the shaker bit. I'm going to do it as a top folding. So just centralise that. So as a bit of a change, I want this to sit behind the sequins. So I need to know where to glue it in comparison to the bit I've already cut out. So if I just place that on for a second, and then I'm going to glue that in. If I hold that with that hand and then lift that up, I can go in and glue. There's a couple of different ways you can do this. Some people glue through the aperture, I'm just going to do this bit and then make sure it's held in place, and then I can lift this side up. Just give that a little hold. And then we're going to be able to see that through the aperture, which is going to be really cool. Just need a bit more under there. So you should be able to see then when this sits above, we'll be able to see that through it, and it will have all the lovely little sequins. So let's pop this bit together. So I need some tape to hold the acetate on the back of that. So I'll use my glue. And then I need some foam. I need it to lift all the way around, and I need it to block off so my sequins aren't going up here, in case you haven't done much shaker card making before. So I've got a couple of different types of foam that I can kind of build it up. A thinner one that I'll do all the way around because the design goes quite close to the edge, and then I can fill in with a thicker one anywhere else. It's going to raise it up evenly all the way around. And then, yeah, it would be a total waste if all my sequins go up here. So if I do a piece, chop it down. This is why all my scissors get sticky. And then another little bit in that corner. Just peel these off ready. And then what I'm going to do is, some people put their sequins in here and then tip their card over. I can never line it up like that. So what I tend to do is put them on the card and then lay this over. Normally it can be a bit of a guesswork as to where to put them, but because we've got that lovely floral design, we know that if we pop our sequins, and I'm going to do a mixture of colours here. Got these kind of minty greeny, thirsty brushy colours, and iridescent ones, so I'm going to pack it. And I know that if they're on top of that flower, they're absolutely going to be in this aperture. Before I put it on, one last little tip is, if you pop your anti-static bag around the edge, probably should have done this before taking off the sticky, but that helps with the sequins a little bit, or a bit of corn flour, something like that. Make sure we put it the right way around. So we've got our acetate on there, we've got our sequins underneath all ready, and that should just then pop straight into place. Whoops, don't think I stuck that. Oh yeah, I didn't press it down at the bottom. There we go. Let's see, those last couple have come out. Not a problem, because we put loads in. Just make sure I actually press it down this time. There we go, none coming out the bottom this time. But really, really pretty. So we just need to finish that off with, just clean myself some room, our little heart, crackle heart from earlier. So I'm just going to cut around it. No die for this one because it's just from the background stamp set. So of course you can make backgrounds by multi-stamping this, but I just fancied it as a little embellishment. And then I've pre-stamped one of our lovely unique sentiments, the big bold ones that are in the release on Monday. So that's quite cute, isn't it? I think the sentiment's quite big that I've cut. Let me find it. I like to have some of these sentiments kind of pre-done and then I can use them whenever I want. So I've made this because this is all quite pale white, the green and the holographic, and this little minty bit. I thought let's have a really bold sentiment to make it pop out. So it's just a case of deciding. I really want that heart just to pop out from everything. It's just where I want it. I think like that. So the heart's going to layer underneath. Do we have it about there? And I'm not going to put any foam pads behind the sentiment this time because we've got enough dimension with the extra foam from the shaker card, so I don't want it too high. And there we go. So we've got that lovely floral design in the background, use the die again as an aperture, and then those lovely sequins all inside and a lovely bold sentiment just to bring it together. So I hope you enjoyed that. I'm super excited to be doing the live show again at Create and Craft tomorrow. So do join in at 2:15 over on Create and Craft. I'm trying to remember the numbers. 683 on Sky, 748 on Virgin and 95 on Freeview. And I will see you there. Bye, take care.